I have ever experienced in my life.
I got fired from working at Red Robin for doing that. When do we get to bury him in a thing and jerk off on him?
I'd say I can take on 311. And he clicks the button and he's just this woman cussing him the fuck out.
This is the weirdest theory I've ever heard in my entire life. Well, in a lot of ways, Big Boy's never left. I agree.
He will tell you I'm a bad driver, but there's no evidence for that.
I have intuition and I'm deep, and then, dude, people fall for absolute monsters on a regular basis.
All right. Welcome to the Two Hippies, One Drunk podcast. On this podcast, we do things a little bit differently in that we switch hosting duties every week between myself, Scott Ryan, Tyler Charles,
right here,
and Eric Fady.
Hello.
And please like us on iTunes, subscribe to us on iTunes, like us on Spotify, leave us reviews, comments, all of that stuff really helps. We appreciate you guys being here again. Also, we are doing a promotion right now where if you review us on iTunes and you send us a screenshot of that, you can get two of Tyler's drawings, right? Is it two? Is that what we
you get an option of 3 different drawings I've made for the podcast.
Okay, yeah, so 2 from the podcast and one of your originals.
One of my originals,
like that, right? Yeah, and you got some really cool originals.
Oh my God,
check them out.
Yes, very cool.
They're all right. They're okay.
No, they're very cool.
Maintain my humility.
I hate to like sit there and be those people on a show. Like I always feel like if it's your friends, you're like just saying, "Oh, my friends are awesome." Because kind of like, get out of here, you freaking loser. But like for real, Tyler's drawings, like I can barely draw a stick figure. So maybe that's why I'm so impressed.
No, you've had drawings of yours that people have gotten as tattoos on them.
Yeah.
So
right.
For whatever that's
crazy.
Worth.
Yeah.
Just review us. Review us,
and you could get one of these gems or an hour tarot reading by Scott.
Yep, that is the other option as well. But yeah, so I wanted to do the second of what's going to end up being a 3-part thing on Jeffrey Epstein this week. Last week, right.
Yippee!
This is the thing I was really kind of excited for with a lot of this, though, because like I feel like the first week we had to like kind of lay the groundwork. The third week will be about his death and stuff. That's its own cool thing, and like getting the island and stuff. That shit's crazy. Yep. But this week we get the whole clown car of celebrities and other random people.
That's a great way of wording it.
Clown plane.
Clown plane, yeah.
That is a funny analogy.
Clown plane.
That is a horrifying thing. That should be a movie, right?
Pedophile clown plane?
Yep.
I mean,
is it?
Would they all play themselves?
I mean, that would be a star-studded fucking movie.
Right.
Yeah, you'd have the biggest people on the planet in that movie.
Right.
I don't know, not really heroes, but they'd be in it.
Yeah, but they wouldn't wear clown masks and clown stuff. I feel like if you're going to have clown in the name.
Can we really quick talk about, like, I feel like this is well-worn territory, but worth bringing up. Clowns are fucking terrifying.
Absolutely.
I know. I don't understand it.
Were they fun?
Never. Okay.
Like through history.
Just a basic sociological fact is you cover your face. If I can't see your eyes, if I can't see your facial expressions in a normal way, you are terrifying. You are not funny.
Yeah.
Right. It is a weird idea.
Yeah.
And it's like clowns too, like aren't just like, they're like magicians. They're fucking like all the things, very mysterious, very creepy creatures.
Yeah.
People. And that they have schools for it blows my mind. But whatever.
They're very weird. They're very like, could you imagine having a clown fetish? I know like this has nothing to do with.
No,
we'll get to the Epstein thing in one second.
Right.
But
you were molested by a clown, if that's the case.
The
only way you're into a clown.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is, I guess you'd have to be a girl for the most part. I'm giving generics here but mostly it doesn't seem like there's a lot of female clowns, and which would, in my opinion, opinion, which would go to what we all know. And I don't care that it's 2021. I think it's just a fact that guys are much more regularly to be perverted than girls. Guys Everything is sexual. Everything is fucking a weird thing. So the point is, like, guys tend to be the clowns, which in my mind, girls would usually have like the fetish of wanting to have sex with a clown. I would suppose. Or
it's a gay thing. It might be a gay.
Or it's a gay thing for sure.
It's just gay clowns are banging, and that's the fetish.
Kind of. I feel like there's not a lot of women that are trying to fucking.
But it could be the man being like,
"That's a good." You know what?
It's hot for me to dress up as a clown while I fuck you.
It's hot for me to dress up as a. That is a whole deep hit of weird that I don't even want to like. How do you?
By the way, Tyler or Scott is right about that. And when I was saying about girls, you're right. It's probably more even a gay thing because again, guys, anything that is out there, guys are going to be by far the first people to turn it stupidly perverted sexually. Like yes, right. Like
you can find a way to do something sexual with it.
Right, he's dressed up. Well, what if I fucked him? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
he's like, oh, he's got makeup on like a lady.
Right.
Same. I'm not gay. Like it's cool.
I wonder if clowns like maybe if you want to go back, like maybe in the 50s, I suppose, before there was internet and stuff, and entertainment options were just so limited. Like at a party, I guess like a birthday party where they did balloons and stuff.
Even
maybe
look at that fucking weird drunk clown out of my kid's birthday party. Like I don't know. That's
no event is better than a clown.
No, I don't think they're ever adjusted.
No, like nothing is better than a clown. The clown brings a weird vibe to a party. Now things are weird. Now things are uncomfortable.
You're saying nothing is better after a clown enters a room.
Yeah, I'm saying you're throwing a party and you're like, shit, I need stuff to do. And some guy's like, I'll be a free clown. You'd be like, get the fuck out of here. Absolutely not.
Right.
Yeah, I have to pay you for me to even have the concept that this is worth it.
Like,
free clowns going around. That's just a pedophile ring.
Yeah, I mean,
speaking of,
you also shouldn't be paying a clown. You also should not be giving your hard-earned money.
I don't understand it, to be honest.
I'm just saying, at least it's like you invested in this thing. You feel like you owe it to the clown to let him be a clown. Because you paid him, and otherwise you're a chump.
That is a scam. That is a scam. You know what? Welcome to Clown Cast.
Right, I know, jeez. Anyway. But I don't get it. I don't get it. No, I've never, ever, ever as a kid enjoyed clowns. And even if you took back the scary aspect, I just didn't find it entertaining to me. Like I don't.
No, you think Jeffrey Epstein's dressing up as a clown, fucking kids?
Oh, absolutely not. 100% no. No, he is completely the other. He sees himself as like suave. He would never be. He would never in a million years
gets
be
real
caught
weird on the island.
Oh, I think he gets weird. I think he gets weird. Not a clown suit. Okay. There's nothing. Okay. We can actually talk about, if you want to talk about his weird sex shit. Sure. He does apparently have a very strangely shaped small penis.
Of course. What a shock. Yeah.
What do you mean strangely
shaped? It's apparently like, how have I heard it described before? Like
comes around back?
What I'm trying to remember, there is a thing I've heard it described.
Oh,
like
dude,
you're shaped like an egg.
Yes,
like it's
yes,
wider
you're right.
at the base and smaller at the tip.
Yes, you're right. That's how it was described in a courtroom, in a court of law.
This is a deposition.
Yeah, a deposition. That is how it was described, as like an egg.
Mm-hmm.
Which makes sense. Again, as guys, guys to me, any guy, it doesn't mean guys with a a regular, just whatever a regular kind of looking dick is, can't be perverted or anything. They can be. But again, guys, if you have anything to me that like it's a little small or it's a little weird, there's fucking complexes that you get about that. And that leads you to
complex, making a fucking.
It's like a Napoleon complex for your dick.
Imagine having your erect penis described as an egg, though. Like an egg is not a long enough object.
No.
That you want your penis described.
You want it to go like 3 or 4 eggs, maybe 6 eggs, half a dozen.
Yeah, a real carton of eggs.
Like ribbed, I'd be okay with that. But like 1 egg.
Oh,
small. Like
I would rather have my penis described as silly string because at least that sounds long.
Right. And no, you're right. That's a great point. You don't know how long silly string is, and maybe you could. And maybe
you're gonna wrap it up in a ball and then put it in.
Well,
eventually, silly string
does sound soft.
It is string.
Yeah, but also like a silly string dick. Like you could like kind of do some
wanna
crazy
floss a
angles
vagina
and sex
or-
like and shit. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, I feel like
Or
with a
just
silly
fill up
string
the
dick.
hole. Those are your options, I guess. Floss a vagina or like plug a hole. 'Cause
Yeah,
that's
but,
really
like-
what he's doing, right?
But I'm saying, like, with the silly string, like, you could
Yeah.
literally, like, the angles that you could sell it at. Like, oh my God, like, I could just
Yeah,
like,
look how long my dick is.
right.
That's true. You
Egg
need some
shaped-
girth to it to make it worth it, though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, we
And
all
he
got
does
problems.
have, that's the one thing the egg has, is it does have the girth.
Well, eggs are still tiny.
I mean,
An egg?
yeah. I'm still saying, though, like, if the base is longer than the
Yeah.
head,
I just
you
wouldn't
got
say-
that going for it at least. You don't have the depth.
They said this in a courtroom?
They said it in a courtroom, yes.
Cool.
Yeah, you have to sit there
Cool
and have
of
them describe that.
So is it so? Is it like the victims are describing his penis to match up with like actually what it looks like?
To prove that they've seen it to one degree.
Okay.
That's one reason.
Are
You
they
could do-
showing pictures of his dick in this court?
not pictures of his dick,
Okay.
but you
Just
could
his
do
dick.
a whole episode on like descriptions of famous people's dicks.
Oh, yeah,
that have
Bill
happened in
Clinton's.
legal settings.
Bill Clinton's famously that I
Bill
forget
Clinton,
which one.
What did they
Michael
say?
Jackson's.
Yeah.
I forget who it was about Clinton's, but the famous line was like, "It's bent." She said it was bent.
Yeah. But you know what? If somebody's gonna throw shade at my dick, it's bent is a pretty good
Yeah. It gets
I
all
would
the
just got-
corners.
If I was in the court and someone got up and said that my dick was bent, I would just I would have to yell out. I feel like I'd be like, "It's because I used it so much."
yeah. It kept hitting the back.
Right. I just fucked so much it's bent.
I dated a lot of shallow women.
Okay, so
Jeffrey.
I figured Jeffrey Epstein, yes.
So we're getting on like the plane.
Get his plane.
Who's in the plane at the start? Who's his first?
His first.
Like, 'cause
Okay.
we got to the point like he had that company, and then through that company he got the island. Correct.
Yeah, he got the island. We went up to the point of his first arrest, which is when a lot of people stopped associating with him. One of the things is that, like, okay, the Black Book is a little bit complicated because I tried to take out some people that I felt like had really good stories around it and stuff like that, because the problem is it's just an address book, really. So it's like him having your address does not necessarily incriminate you.
Yeah.
Probably doesn't help, but
Don't help.
yes.
Yeah, he doesn't have my address.
Yeah.
Maybe does he have yours, Scott? Is that why you're trying to tell us it's no big deal?
Yes. Is that what I'm trying to what?
You're trying to tell us it's no big deal because your name's in that address
yeah,
book?
This
Is that
is the
what's
route we're
going on?
going down. The first one is pretty bad. He went through all this shit.
Yeah.
And then the last one's going to be, I think he didn't do anything wrong, and I wish he was still around.
Right,
would-
great
Good old
guy.
Cal
Right.
Epstein.
I have never been on a private plane in my
Yeah,
life.
I was going to say,
I
and
have-
if you were and did not invite me, I'd have a real issue.
You would be mad at me for not inviting you.
Invite me on the
Epstein's plane.
pedophile plane.
That's
yeah.
what I'm hearing.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, if you're going, let me check it
Be
out.
like, it's not about the pedophilia.
About the
It's
fucking
about
kids.
being on a private plane.
Yeah.
I
Right.
want the free drinks.
Yep.
Right,
about the-
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
You're
want
not
the
supporting it
football.
necessarily.
And to be honest, I find out that they're fucking kids. I'm telling everyone, like, I'm gonna get killed by the people that are in charge, but like,
Well, if you really want to get on a plane and fly to places where people are fucking kids, then don't go to LA. Like, I mean, so.
Yeah, that's true.
yeah, it's closer than you think. You don't have to go all the way to the island. That's hilarious.
Okay, so I wanted to start with Bill Gates because we kind of brought him up last
Yeah.
week. He's a good starting point, especially because he's been in the news recently.
Oh, yeah.
So he was in the Black Book originally, and they asked him about it, and they were like, "Well, how do you know him?" And he's like, "Oh, I don't really. We met once or twice at a party or whatever."
Right,
well,
right.
Years
This
later,
is Clinton saying this.
no, this is Bill Gates.
Okay, Bill Gates.
Bill Gates, yes. And years later, he ends up. The New York Times gets a hold of a bunch of his emails and actually like prints a bunch of stuff.
Hilarious. I just love these people. Like, look at, man, I'm not, it's just shocking to me. Even as rich as you are, as famous as you can be, for the most part, stuff like this you can't just completely lie about it for the most part. Eventually somebody is the right person's going to look into it. at some point in time. You know what I mean?
Or do these people get away with lying about this stuff so much
I mean,
it's
that's
actually
the
a
truth.
very rare occurrence?
No, that's the actual truth.
The thing I would say, yeah.
That is just constantly happening, and those are actual little rare outcrops.
Yeah, like for instance, this is a thing I thought was funny that I had recently heard about was because I've been going deep into these celebrity gossip podcasts lately for whatever reason, and who is the guy who plays Deadpool? I'm blanking on his name.
Ryan Reynolds.
Ryan Reynolds.
Are you gonna tell me? Oh no.
He's accidentally told the same story about multiple people he's been in a relationship with, like on talk shows and stuff.
Ryan Reynolds has?
Ryan Reynolds, yeah. Which is
what?
A common thing with celebrities where like he would tell a story about one girlfriend and then they break up.
Just making up bullshit to
totally making stuff
keep it like charming and stuff. And like if you have a good story.
Or even to keep it private, to be honest with you. Maybe that's something they do, like right. Like they just tell that one relatable dating story. So
but it's one of those things. I guess what I'm saying is like you can lie so easily when you're a celebrity.
True.
To the point where like he's told the same story on 3 different talk shows about 3 different women, and I only know about it because I was listening to some obscure, super in-depth thing that some guy had created about it. Otherwise, you would never have any idea. You know,
right.
You just watch a talk show and be like, "Oh, that's charming." Like,
damn it, Ryan Reynolds. I like Ryan Reynolds. I hope he wasn't on the pedo plane.
I was literally like, please don't ruin that man for me right now.
Okay, not on the pedo plane. Too attractive to be a good person. I don't.
That's a good argument. That is a good argument.
There is a good argument. I feel like it's probably not. There's good people, that are attractive.
Many.
You could be perfect.
What is he? Was he a war orphan or something? Where did he get that pain from?
Yeah,
I don't.
Yeah, you do need something really horrible to be a really.
Good dude, and honestly, like it's the same with comedy. When you do comedy, to me, like when I see some good-looking person, guy or girl, like really good-looking, I instantly to myself, I'm like, you better be fucking funny, dude, because fuck this guy.
That is so true.
I don't need some good-looking dude.
It's like, if you're not, like, I'm gonna fucking make fun of you so hard. It's like,
well, I don't need some good-looking guy telling me how hard life is. Like, go fuck yourself.
Exactly.
All right, but swinging at the
I kind of hate it just saying a little bit more when they are hilarious.
Yeah.
It's like, you're fucking funny and gorgeous.
That is like, you better fucking be nice.
Yeah, you better
be nice as fuck.
See, at that point, I'm like, you better be a piece of shit. Because if you are nice, I might die.
No, if you are nice, it's like, okay, I begrudgingly have to like you.
Well, I have this whole belief, like, for example, like, and this is, God, I suppose it's good. I don't know if this sounds too old, maybe me being not a woke millennial, but like, for example, like Wayne Gretzky's daughter is smoking hot. And I'm always like, fuck this bitch, man. Her dad is Wayne Gretzky, best hockey player of all time, millionaire. She could do anything she wants in life, never has to work. And then she's also super hot. Get out of here. Like,
yeah, okay. Hot men piss me off way more than hot women. Am I being completely honest?
You're not wrong. You're not wrong. He's like, you son of a bitch.
How so? Like, how so?
Because most women are pretty fucking attractive, just as a baseline.
Yep. That is true.
If you are a woman in your 20s, most likely, most guys want to fuck you.
Yeah. That's a good point.
If you are a man in your 20s, most likely most women don't want to fuck you.
And you can convince them.
And you can convince them too with your personality.
Right. I got it.
But those guys don't have to do anything, and they're just getting it. It's just
that's a good point, and you just sold me on that. I agree. I definitely agree on that. Anyway,
okay, so swinging completely the opposite direction into a very ugly creep, Bill Gates, famously very unattractive nerd.
That was a legit spit take, everybody.
just
the listeners. Eric's straight spit take, and it was genuine. I really.
Oh yeah, no, it was just how you said it when the water was in my mouth. Because you said it as if it was like a scientific proven fact. Like not, I mean, it is, but it's just like you're just like very famously
like a very famously unattractive nerd. Right.
He's a computer dork.
Yeah, for sure.
Through and through. And he does, and Bill Gates does that goddamn thing where it's like, oh, I'm a billionaire, but I dress like your grandpa or something.
Right.
It's like, fuck you. Get some good clothes.
No. You know what's fucked up about that? All their clothes are thousands of dollars. I saw this thing, and Bill Gates and like all these like rich old dudes are wearing things that just look like a polo, right?
Yeah.
Like $800 for that shirt.
Like saggy pants.
$1,000 for those pants.
Wow.
So it's
other than honestly, Warren Buffett is pretty famously lives modestly considering how much money he has. If you look into it, like
I don't know about that. I'm just saying Bill Gates specifically acting like, oh, I'm just an average Joe that spends $800 on a pair of pants.
You know the other thing. Does Bill Gates most of his money come from Microsoft? I wonder, like, where his money? Because to me, when you really think of it, it's funny. Like, I'm not a nerd, so maybe I don't understand it. But who even fucking uses Microsoft? Like, it seems like Microsoft's been irrelevant for 20 years.
Yeah.
And yet
it is extremely popular. It is by far the most used.
Okay, see, I'm an Oran. That shows you how dumb I am. So
yeah, I was thinking like Apple or like I don't really.
Here's the thing: is Apple has a whole product where
Dell,
it's like. Dell's Microsoft. Any computer you can imagine is Microsoft.
And you know what? I bet
they all use that operating system.
I bet I'm thinking of like regular, regular people, quote unquote. A lot of us use Apple. Maybe in reality, now that I think about it, you're probably right. Like in the business world, that's where I'm probably wrong. The business world's probably a lot of Microsoft stuff.
Well, and I would say too, like you are right in that like Apple user category, because I would actually say it's like middle class to upper middle class or whatever. Because if you buy poor people, like you're buying a computer, it's like your cousin's Acer or something.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
and that's all gonna run off of Microsoft.
Okay.
Bringing up your cousin, that was real specific. Most people go to a store. Your cousin's Acer? Did that happen to you? Did you buy your cousin's Acer?
I don't have a computer, sir.
Oh, I thought you were about to say, I don't have a cousin.
I do have a cousin.
She's
not going to give me a computer for free.
Nice. Sounds like a bitch.
Right,
yeah. Why aren't you giving out more computers for free, Scott's cousin?
Okay. Is this like the third or fourth time you've called a woman a bitch on this Epstein episode?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry about that. I've tried. Do I need an apology?
I thought that was the first time. I wasn't really counting.
You know what? I think, honestly, in my defense, in that case, I don't mind you calling me out on it because I probably deserve it. But in my defense, I think that I don't really see that. I know the word has gotten into like, I don't see it to me as like, specifically a woman, even like I don't know how to explain it. I don't see it like as a degrading thing just to a woman. I just see it as a word, like a dick is to a guy, a bitch is to a girl, and because no one would say that you saying about a dick, a guy being a dick all the time. I love
calling a guy a bitch. If you can find a reason to call a guy a bitch,
it is because it's so.
But here's the thing. Here's the thing. I would argue that calling a guy a bitch is more unwoke than calling a girl a bitch. Because if you're calling a guy a bitch and it's funny, what are you saying? Why is it funny that he's a little bitch?
That they're weak? Yeah.
Is it
At least
a
you
weak
call
woman?
A woman something that's in their fucking genre of things to call them.
Here's my problem is like. How did we get here?
I don't know. I'm sorry. This is my fault. You guys aligned yourself with an asshole who just says dumb things, and it's my fault. So
here's my difference: is like you call a guy like a dick or an asshole, there is a different flavor to it.
Yeah.
Bitch or cunt, it sounds like violence is about to occur.
Oh, for sure.
Like, that is to me like would be the fun.
That is true.
I think I just call everybody everything. Then I don't really think, honestly, I don't think of things when I call people names in my mind. Yeah. Now, maybe I've been ingrained so much that I'm still wrong. Maybe it's, I probably sound like a monster, but I don't mean to be.
Anyway, computer bitch, Bill Gates.
Right. What a callback.
He originally he said he barely knew him. Then New York Times does this expose. They got like some leaked emails and shit like that, where like he had gone to his townhouse in 2011, which first of all was after his conviction, because his first conviction was in 2008.
Okay,
and that's when you really get into when you can really nail people. Because now it's like, what the fuck were you doing there, dude? You knew he was a sex trafficker.
Right.
So he sent emails to colleagues that were like, The quote is, I really enjoy Epstein's charm and intelligence. His lifestyle is very different and kind of intriguing, although it would not work for me.
What does that even mean when you say, like, it's intriguing, but it wouldn't work for me? Like, okay.
Is that you covering your own ass? Or you think he's being sincere? Like, it's just, I don't want to fuck kids.
I know. I think Jeffrey Epstein is fucking 3 to 4 people a day, and I don't think Bill Gates has that stamina.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I really feel like that's pretty much what it comes down to.
I get what you're saying.
Like, fuck parties 24/7.
Yeah.
Can't handle.
Yeah.
But because he's an ugly little nerd.
Yeah, exactly.
Standing in the corner watching. Yeah. Just jerking it.
And he nuts once and he's done for the night. You know.
Yeah, right.
Going in for repeat.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I would.
He's turning in for sure.
Yeah.
Although it's funny, it did come out.
He's mask and he's turning.
You don't think he's taking a shot of adrenochrome and going back in there? Just getting it.
Although it did come out through his divorce that he had a I think it was I don't know if it was once a year, once a month. I forget if it was once a month or once a year, but he had a hall pass that Melinda gave him.
What?
Either once a month or once a year. Where he
I believe that. If you're that famous, you're not fucking one person.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and to be honest, I don't even understand why. We don't have to go down a talk of massage or whether you should be with one guy or one girl or not. But I agree personally. Like, honest to God, I don't understand unless you, like, for some reason, personally have some very religious reasons. There's no reason that you shouldn't be, in my opinion. But.
Okay, this is a weird thing I've always wondered about with Bill Gates too, that I feel like also connects to his stamina. All these fucking billionaires are so goddamn jacked nowadays. They're getting that, like, testosterone therapy and shit like that, like,
or that blood therapy you told me about. Like,
where they shoot younger people's blood.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yep.
Yeah.
Whoa, those people are going down quite a road.
Would you guys get that?
If it worked.
No?
If it worked.
I'd be willing to try it.
If it worked.
Give me a willing 18-year-old lets me shoot their blood into my veins.
You're essentially a vampire at that point.
Well, let me ask you this.
You're a vampire who has, like, a child to suck on from time to time.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this.
Vampires famously young.
Is your reasoning for getting it, like, what is the reasoning? Are you suggesting, like, oh, I'm getting older, so my stamina isn't just as much? Like, what is your thought of why you would get it?
I want to give me your youthful energy. I want to absorb it into my body.
I must just be lucky. I'm good. I think I already wake up at 5 a.m. every day and go to bed at fucking 11. So I mean,
you still have that youth in you.
Will you give me some of your blood, Eric?
Maybe, yeah. Well,
older than you, fucking kidding you. You just break down.
My only worry about giving my blood is sometimes it's not always there tends to be a lot of blood alcohol going on there. So you gotta, can you handle it?
He's just gonna take it and get drunk.
Right. He's gonna take my blood and he'll get buzzed. Like,
right.
Yep.
Anyway, I just, honestly, for me and my thought on it, for real, like, I don't know if this is what you're kind of getting at, though, but for real, I have never had this worry about getting old. Like, I don't care about my hair going gray or losing it, or I've just never cared. So when you talk about that, and I also do have a high amount of energy for the most part, so maybe that helps too.
I'm the exact opposite. I worry about it all the time. I
really?
hate it. I think about it all the time.
Interesting.
Yeah, it just depends. I feel like some of it, I'm in between both of you, where it's like I'm not fully on board with it, but I'm kind of more accepting of it than Scott.
Yeah,
Scott, are you do you think you're gonna be the guy that's gonna be like, your hair is gonna be pitch black at 40 still somehow? And I mean, or
no, because I hate those guys. You can quote me now. You will never once see me in an Affliction T-shirt.
Okay, well that's a little.
Get into play. But would you like dye your hair black and then keep the silver on the side?
No, I want to age gracefully.
But you just think about it. That's all.
But I think about it.
Okay,
yeah.
That's at least more understandable to me.
Yeah.
There's
a looming presence, and it's not something you're gonna actually like become a douchebag because of.
Yeah, I feel like the guys who become a douchebag with that, or become like that weird older guy who's trying to act young, is people who have that mentality, but they don't consciously recognize it.
Yeah. Although, you know what's funny is, like, because of my life, I know we're going on such a different tangent, but because of my life, I've lived in my parents' house for a lot of it, and my parents are really strict about some different things, and I try to respect them a little bit, but like in the near future, I'm gonna do what I've always wanted to do for a long time, and that's like dye my hair like purple and pink, for example. And I'm gonna be 38 when this is happening, but it's but it's just what I've always wanted to do. It's not like an attempt, some vain attempt to stay young. It's just something I've always wanted to do, and I haven't been able to in my life.
No, I believe that. I genuinely believe that you dyeing your hair has nothing to do with like trying to stay young. And
but people will think that if they don't know me, for sure. Like when I go to a bar and they see, kind of my gut and can tell I'm a little older, they're gonna think that I'm a dude who's trying to fucking, like I said, hold on to youth for everything.
And you're like, I'm just a weirdo. Like,
exactly. Anyway, sorry.
Okay, so his email, like it said that, and then he also said, referring to a woman who was like Miss Sweden and her 15-year-old daughter. Said a very attractive Swedish woman and her daughter dropped by, and I ended up staying there quite late.
Oh,
he fucked that woman and her 15-year-old daughter. Like, I don't know.
Oh my God!
Why would he bring it up? And without it, yeah, he's definitely doing that.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
Bill Gates. This is Bill Gates. And okay, like when all this came out too, the Wall Street Journal kind of tried to, I was looking at different articles, and this quote I felt like was the perfect example of like how they try to spin this shit sometimes, where it's like, former colleagues allege the two were in talks to involve Epstein with Gates's philanthropic foundation, which dedicates some of its efforts to the empowerment and well-being of girls and women. Like that was the Wall Street Journal's take on it. Like, good.
It just, it just shows you in the reality. If you if you have a certain level of power, or if you're on a certain side of different people, the story can certainly get spun in any way you want it to get spun.
Yeah. And like my thing is too with even these fucking foundations and stuff, and like
oh my God, most of them are a
joke. An episode on it at some point because they are. You can go deep into those where it is like. It's a combination of them evading taxes, them laundering money, and them like trying to present a certain like PR image.
Well, I've always said this, for example, like, and this is not to turn as political, but it just like with this Jeffrey Epstein's first stuff, for example, all the hammering of Donald Trump, for example, during his entire presidency, which is mostly warranted, not saying it wasn't, but like, all of that hammering, they never got him. They never went after him for Epstein stuff. And my theory all along was it was the one thing they couldn't do because they're all on the freaking plane too. Yeah. They'd have to, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why didn't they go after him on that? Because it would have been so ezy, but they never did.
Yeah, absolutely.
But it's like they couldn't, right? It was this one weird topic where they couldn't hammer him because, they were all doing it too.
Yeah, there's a very few, like you even think about the way all this stuff does sort of, like the way so much of his presidency was a good example of where it was like him being rude or him saying something racist or something like that. It's like he is extremely politically corrupt. He has all of these crazy connections and stuff, but you are never going to bring that up because the fucking people, Matt Lauer's got a fucking button under his desk where he can lock women in his office when they show up. Matt Lauer's going to fucking talk about Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein? Of course not.
Right. So it was just a funny thing because that topic specifically was always funny to me because it's like, dude, it would have been so easy to drill him, but they would have had to then go after all of their own for doing it.
Okay, so this is one thing I thought was super interesting about Bill Gates in particular, that I'm really curious to see where this goes because he's in the process of a divorce right now.
Yep.
And the general consensus has been that Melinda Gates is like putting the screws to him about this Epstein stuff and doing it to gain power in the divorce. Yeah. Because
like I'll fucking like leak more shit.
I'll leak more shit. There was People Magazine got this exclusive. And the thing about People Magazine is like it is pretty much exclusively a farm for PR firms. Like People Magazine isn't doing investigative journalism. They're being approached by other celebrities who want to present a certain story.
Right. Which is always kind of funny because in reality, when people look back on like the Inquirer, for example, they used to be like, oh, you heard that on the Inquirer. The Inquirer was like no bullshit. They were fucking legit nailing stories all the time. But you know what I mean? But like, so your situation with People here, not even close to the same.
And they were like, oh yeah, Melinda Gates said a huge divide, or they said sources say that a huge dividing rift between them was all the time Bill Gates was spending with Jeffrey Epstein.
Let me ask you
And
this.
it's like, that's her people.
That's yeah. That's
I have a question. I have a question for both of you on this, and if in a way, because it's just hit me like it's kind of an interesting thing. Like on one hand, I guess good for her that if she gets some of this stuff out there, but she's clearly not going to do it if she gets hers, right? So
totally.
I mean, are they both equally evil in that thing then? Because essentially she's using these people's pedophile stuff just to get more money and power over him.
She knew about it. She knew about it. She had to know to even be leaking the shit in the first place.
Why don't she just come out and say it anyway? By the way, she could just come out and say this stuff now. But no,
just to like, hey, this is horrible, and now I can actually say something because I'm not involved with him anymore.
Right.
100%, absolutely. But that's what I love about this sort of thing, though, is I feel like you're never going to get an ultra wealthy person coming out and spreading this stuff out of the goodness of their hearts. Because to be honest, I don't think you can become that wealthy if you have that within you. You know what I mean?
It's
like at a certain point, you're gonna have issues.
I don't know if we talked about this on this show. I think we did last time, but I think I asked you that kind of question. So I'm sorry if I'm repeating that. But like you're right. The more I've gotten older, unless you do it through athletes. I know you don't really watch sports, but athletes for the most part, it is on your like skill that you've developed. But acting, powerful business people, all that shit. If you get to a certain level, you're right. I don't think you can do it without having, skeletons in that closet or something that got you there.
Well, and all of these other things, like there is an element of power letting you into its circle. And athletes are a little bit different because like that is actual like straight up skill. Like even if you are a fucking great actor, you're telling me there's not 100 other actors that have the same ability as you?
Yeah.
Like,
and when you're doing professional sports, it's like you're at the top of your fucking game.
Yeah.
Like as a human.
And it's almost like, by the way, the powerful people don't always like them because the athletes are actually like begrudgingly let into the club. They're not really let into the club because, rich people tend to not like that. So,
yeah, totally. And they are. It's like, even if you are an excellent actor and shit, you're not. We're talking about like Tiger Woods had a golf club taped to his hand at 3 years old.
Right.
That is a level of skill that you're never going to reach.
Yeah.
In almost any other field. But yeah, so like I am really curious to see where that goes because I feel like I don't know. I love a good divorce between famous people. That's a real situation
that's a
where
special one where she's like, even just I'm gonna fucking leak so much shit that would like ruin you.
Starting out with the Epstein thing, like that's the thing too. Is it's like this just started.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy. It'll be very interesting. Honestly, you're right.
He's gonna pay her off, right? Or they're gonna kill her?
Oh yeah.
Oh, for sure. He's gonna pay her off. They're not gonna kill her. She's too powerful herself. Yeah, I would be amazed if she committed suicide or something. I would be like, man, what the fuck was she about to do?
Right.
Yep.
Okay. So another one, Kevin Spacey.
Oh my God, this guy. When you look at this guy, the more, by the way, I used to actually kind of think I liked him. Like I liked House of Cards, for example. But the more you like heard about it as things came out, it was so obvious that this guy was a nut job in a lot of ways. It was just like, even though I thought I liked him as an actor for a while, it just, once you heard it, it just didn't shock me at all.
He is a good actor. Yeah. I wouldn't even deny that. I think like House of Cards, not even the best show, but his performance holds that whole thing together.
Yeah, for sure. I didn't even watch the season that he wasn't in. And
me either, actually. Yeah.
And I really liked House of Cards, and I didn't do it out of any moral thing. I just knew when he was, even though I don't like him. Obviously, he's a monster in my opinion, as you can see as we see now. With him out of the thing, it just was like, well, I don't even know why I would watch this.
Have you watched his Frank Underwood videos?
That
he's made.
I think I watched either a little of it. Oh, they're creepy as fuck, dude. Yes, I did actually. I did watch one.
You did watch one? There's 2 out now. The second one, even creepier. But like, so he did this thing, Tyler, where he was on House of Cards playing that politician, Frank Underwood. Okay. And he got kicked off of there when all these allegations came out about him sexually assaulting like underage men and underage boys. And so he made these 2 videos as Frank Underwood after being kicked off of the show.
What?
Yeah.
And they're so creepy, dude.
About being kicked off the show?
Yes. Like he's like the first one is
like he does the ring thing even, doesn't he? He has that stupid ring and he like clicks it on the wood like the Frank Underwood would.
Oh, no, he's totally doing Frank Underwood. I mean, explicitly. Like he's like, I am Frank Underwood and this is a House of Cards scene.
Okay.
It's in the kitchen.
Okay.
And he like I'm trying to remember some of the lines because it's the way he sets it up is he'll literally be like, yeah, like you miss me, don't you? And you don't believe those accusations. You wouldn't believe anything that you just heard without evidence, would you?
What?
Did you?
It's so creepy.
What? And he did this himself. He just filmed it himself. He produced it himself. He put it out.
And the title of the video, is called "Let Me Be Frank."
Oh, let me be frank. Don't cancel me.
He's about to do a movie.
Don't do it.
Isn't he? He's about to or getting paid to do a movie soon about basically a guy that his job is to stop child molesters or something.
No. He is a guy. Yeah, he is a detective trying to clear a man who has been accused unlawfully of committing child.
What?
So that's even worse.
He's just like, I want to show what happened to me, in my opinion.
Yes,
rather than like,
absolutely.
So it's basically
is he paying for it? Is he making, or are they like is like Hollywood like we don't want to screw him over?
I think he got cast in a role.
Yeah,
like that's
what I think it is more
real
so
specific.
I don't think it's not going to be.
We wrote this for you.
It's not going to be in theaters. Like that's what we're talking about. You know what I mean? It's going to be.
But it's basically the OJ book. I mean, like.
Yeah.
No, except it's the opposite. It would be as if OJ starred in if OJ starred in a movie where he was trying to clear a man who killed his wife.
Yeah. But it's just similar in the sense of like, dude, this is basically just what happened to you, and you're trying to like almost like show people like this is how I got
the
fucked.
light side, your side, your version. What happened in the second video?
Okay, so the second video is called "Kill Them with Kindness."
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Cool name.
Okay, and the thing you have to understand before any of this is 3 of his accusers have died in the last year.
Oh,
3
Jesus.
of them.
Fuck.
Yeah. And
how coincidental is that? These young men, by the way, they're not old.
2 of them were supposedly suicide.
Jesus. Yeah.
And 1 guy did have cancer. And
you can give people cancer though.
Yeah, you give people cancer. If
you can, what was that ray gun you were talking
heart
attack
ray gun?
Yeah, if you can heart attack ray gun, you can definitely cancer somebody.
Yeah, I feel
Forgot
like
about
that
that
technology probably does exist. I don't know. But what I will say is you can also choke a guy who has cancer. Then everybody goes, yeah, he died from cancer.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
But the third accuser died on Christmas Day. And Christmas Day, he released this Kill Them with Kindness video.
Oh my God.
Which is him dressed as Frank Underwood sitting by like a fire in like a Christmas sweater.
Oh my God.
And like, dude, yeah, I cannot encourage enough. Like this video is so much more insane than the Let Me Be Frank video.
Both of these.
Yeah, because this is what he says. The camera is zooming in on his face as he says
Oh no.
And he goes, this year, I'd like to vote for more good in the world. The next time someone does something you don't like, you can go on the attack, but you can also hold your fire, do the unexpected. And then he looks directly in the camera and goes, you can kill them with kindness.
Oh my God. Oh my God.
And that guy died on the same day. Is he Walter White? Like doing an organized hit?
And then immediately after he says that, it does this like almost like a psycho sound effect, like a and like zooms in on the fire and the video just like ends.
How he must just be so in his mind untouchable. He must feel like he just can't because that is deranged.
Taken down.
It's completely deranged.
Yeah, that's insane. That
Like,
you would
we
do
used
that
to
and
just-
think that like it's a positive for you, and you're not seen as a fucking supervillain.
Or maybe
Right.
you're just gloating. Maybe you don't even.
That's
give
the
a
other
shit.
thing. Yeah,
But
that's
that
the other
is
thing.
just evil. You're gloating about murdering 3 people.
The thing I would
Right?
say is like, yeah, but I would say that Kevin Spacey, everybody who has worked with him and met him seems to absolutely be like, this man is an absolute awful monster.
He seems like it. He seems like he is.
Yeah, I don't
his
doubt
own
it.
brother. I've listened to interviews with his brother and stuff. Who's like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, like I didn't. I haven't spoken to him in like 20 years. Like when our mom died, he didn't show up at the funeral. Like
Right.
He has no. Oh no, he did show up. Actually, he showed up at his mom's funeral and was the only person allowed to give a eulogy and made it like all about himself.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
What a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Hilarious.
So that's a man who is so deeply just destroyed.
You
by
can
fate.
see it in his eyes, I feel.
That's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. I'm saying, honest to God, I'm not usually one of those people. Again, we're all pretty beneficial. We try to give people like the benefit, and I'm not usually like that. But yeah, you're right with him, dude, Tyler. Like his eyes, is just how he
presents himself. His
presents
whole
himself in
thing
every
seems
aspect
like
of
a
his
lizard man that
Yeah.
just like fucking is eating babies and fucking killing people.
Yeah, it is one of those things. Once you see it, you can't not notice it, and it's the type of characters he's always played too. So
Right,
like,
that's the
you're
thing.
good at like playing yourself.
Yep.
He was also, just really quick as the last thing about him, he got famous on The Usual Suspects, which is
Okay.
also crazy to me because like, are you guys familiar with Bryan Singer at all?
That sounds familiar.
I don't know if I am or I am not.
Yeah,
I'm
okay, he was the writer director who made The Usual Suspects.
Okay.
He also made X-Men
Days of Future Past.
Days of Future Past. Yes.
Okay, I do.
Okay.
And he is like, there was a documentary about him called An Open Secret a couple of years ago that just totally got into how he was just running all of these like underage gay like giant parties and stuff. And I mean, the documentary did enough that he was kicked off of that Queen movie, Bohemian Rhapsody.
Yeah.
He
Oh,
was
really?
the director on there. They switched directors halfway
I
through
did
because
know
they were like, dude, like we can't deal with you.
That's crazy. Interesting.
They had a online like when the internet first occurred, they wanted like an online kids channel, and it
Yeah.
was literally called Den.
Oh, What?
It just like they just molested a ton of children.
what
Oh my
the
God.
fuck? They
It's like
called it a den?
They called it
The
Den.
Den?
The name of the channel was Den.
Ugh.
The children's channel.
Oh my God.
Seriously, that's fucking awful. Call
Yeah.
it fucking channel dungeon. Like just straight. What? That is awful.
These are all more
That is
reasons why we
such
should
an
always.
upsetting name.
Yeah.
Den.
Yeah.
Oh,
These are
that-
all more reasons, by the
really
way,
upsets
as I know it's a recurring statement I make, but these are all more reasons why we should, of course, remember that when they're giving their Oscar speeches to us and talking down to us, how we should really make sure that we take note of that and change our own lives.
Yeah, no.
Seriously.
Yeah,
Like-
they go fuck themselves.
I go back to what we said the one time in a previous episode of like anybody that wins an Oscar, to me is like we said before, is like they shouldn't have to be able to vote again, for example.
Yeah.
Versus felony.
Absolutely.
I'm about
they-
that.
They're completely not allowed to influence what we do on a day-to-day.
Okay, so then are either of you guys familiar with Alan Dershowitz? Do you recognize
I
that
know the
at all?
name for sure. I don't know.
Okay.
I know the name for sure.
He was he was actually a lawyer on a recurring podcast member and friend of the show, OJ Simpson's.
Friend of the show! Of our show?
He's been mentioned in almost every episode.
That is true.
Friend of the show, OJ
Jay
Simpson.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, I know this guy for sure. I was just looking at
on
pictures
his
of him.
legal team. He was a lawyer, like he's the guy they go to for celebrity lawyer shit.
Okay.
Like pretty much
Yeah,
always.
yeah.
He was on The View for years and years. There's actually like kind of a crazy thing happening with him too, because he is in this situation where Virginia Jeffries, who's like the main accuser, has been like, oh yeah, no, it was Alan Dershowitz, and like he raped me like several times and stuff.
Jesus
like
fuck, dude.
And Alan Dershowitz is all over his address books, all over his flight logs. Like he was Epstein's attorney in 2008.
Okay.
When that first happened.
Yeah.
And so he gets in this situation now where he is like being accused of that, and he's like, oh no, it's a money thing. She's just trying to scam money out of me. She did it to me and Les Wexner and a bunch of other powerful people.
Yeah.
Les Wexner is the guy who owns Victoria's Secret, the one I was talking about last week.
Okay.
And I thought this was great because then Les Wexner is like, let me get the exact quote. Okay,
hey,
his official statement was
was
from his lawyers was Mr. Wexner had no involvement and thus lacks any knowledge of Mr. Dershowitz's extortion claim.
Can you read that one more time, even? I want to hear that again, even, honestly. That was
okay. Mr. Wexner had no involvement and thus lacks any knowledge of Mr. Dershowitz's extortion claim.
Okay.
Like just flat out, like
Sure,
thrown into
buddy.
the wolves, like, fuck you, dude, we are not in the same boat.
yeah.
That's funny, man.
Fun fact about Alan Dershowitz, there's like his first wife, he got married to her and they had a kid together.
Okay.
And then he was just cheating on her all the time, wanted nothing to do with her. They had a very estranged marriage. They went to get divorced and he had one of the most vicious divorces, like famously vicious.
Huh.
To where he wanted full custody of the kid. He didn't want her having partial custody or anything. Wow. Her sister was married to his brother and got her sister to testify against her that she shouldn't have the kids.
Holy shit.
What?
Yeah.
Why?
Because she was married to his brother and I guess wanted to be in that little circle or something.
But the funny thing is he didn't even want the kid, probably, it sounds like.
No, I think it's totally a power thing. I think it's totally because I think the real thing is the money. And then the other thing he did that's super fucked up, this is like in 1979. So the man has gone on to work constantly since then. He had two doctors come in and say, oh, Mr. Dershowitz is actually suffering from heart problems and hypertension. And he can't work anymore, so he can't pay alimony.
Yeah. I think I remember hearing about this stuff. Some of this
Shit.
And it fucking worked. And his wife ended up killing herself. Like she jumped into at least that's the official story, is that she jumped into the East River like 2 or 3 years later.
I mean, I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. That's a dark.
That's crazy,
situation.
man. I
can't see your kid. You're everything taken from you, and he won't even give you alimony.
Yeah.
Life, dude. I don't understand it. I'm sorry. I'm not trying to be weird. All these stories. I just can't you know, again, I think we said the last time you were talking about some of this topic. It really makes me feel like, man, I've done nothing wrong in my life in the comparable sense. Like in the comparable sense of these things, like the minor things that I have shame spirals over are like, oh, I got too drunk one night and I kind of passed out. Like, okay, well, so what? I mean, compared to this, like,
do you guys ever do the thing where, like, because I've done this multiple times, where you read something or hear something about somebody that is just the most awful shit you've ever heard of in your life, and you're like, I need to Google this person and just look at their face. I need to see what the fuck this demon looks like.
Yes, I've definitely done that.
It's so crazy, dude. I look, like I said, I mean, anyone that's listened to this show, I am not perfect at all as a human being. I have had several things, that that aren't always perfect. But like this level, you read this shit and you hear this shit, and it, like I said, it makes me look like a fucking angel. Yeah, compared to this stuff, like
I fully believe Alan Dershowitz has done more evil in a week than all three of us combined in our life.
Which isn't that's crazy, man? If you really think about that, like, and I know you believe that. You don't just say shit, like you don't just say stuff. So.
yeah, totally. I mean, like honestly, he is one of those people. You could get into a whole hour on just shit that like the New Yorker has done articles on, like not a fringe publication or anything.
Right.
Like, his awful, insane behavior. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit further down the dark path, and then I do have a fun thing to end us on.
Nice.
Okay. So
a nice little happy ending for us.
Little happy, not a Jeffrey Epstein style happy ending, but it's just a regular podcast.
It's a bad happy ending.
Yeah.
It's a real sad, sloppy. Oh, gross.
Yeah. So let the viewers lay down on the table, and we'll give them a nice, thorough dick massage. Of a
So
happy
what's the
ending
first
at the
thing you had? Let's go down this dark hole after that comment.
So you got Marina Abramovich. Have either of you guys heard of her?
No, I haven't.
Okay, this is her best friend was Jeffrey Epstein's assistant for years. She is more loosely connected than any of these other people. But to be honest, I just really wanted to fucking talk about her at some point, and she's not going to come up in any other context I can imagine. She's like, she is this woman who has done, if you listen to some like really hardcore kind of out there conspiracy theorists, your Alex Jones types, they're like, oh, she does like satanic masses, she does like black magic rituals, and I mean, you can call it what you want to call it. Like, that is kind of what she does.
Okay.
I'm not a fan of a lot of those people who tend to push that stuff against her. Like I said, like not an Alex Jones guy or whatever. He's a guy who's kind of put a lot of this stuff out there. But if you watch her videos, I mean, they're weird as fuck. I mean, she's slicing her wrists in an upside down pentagram wearing a goat.
Okay. Geez.
You know what I mean? Like that.
Normal Friday night for me.
She's doing that shit.
Right.
I feel like that's not that crazy.
Also, Lady Gaga is like one of her proteges.
Oh, no.
Yeah, like, I mean, flat out, like,
I mean, I believe that.
Spent, like, weeks doing, like
I
training.
think that Lady Gaga's evil.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah,
I
very
don't want
much
to. You know what? Can we do no more things about celebrities that are going to? I really like Lady Gaga.
you can like what you like, but that doesn't. All of the people you love have done awful things.
Apparently.
And I honestly, Lady Gaga, she seems like a monster. I don't know
what about her.
Just everything. Everything about her.
See, the funny thing is because I don't get that. I always felt really, really good about her. I never felt that at all. So that's funny.
Here's the thing. She definitely did.
Stealing her.
Yeah. Do you want to?
No, go ahead.
Yeah, okay,
might as well tell me.
She literally, she had a friend who was doing the Lady Gaga act, who was like one of her good friends. I believe they even lived together at one point.
Yeah.
And her friend killed herself. And then she just went, I'm just going to take her act. And then she became famous.
Wait a minute. So this
she
was like
living with a woman. Yeah, before
and she was like
famous,
trying to be a singer.
And the other girl was trying to be
broadly famous. Not even really a singer at that point.
Oh, okay. And this
like,
other girl was...
Maybe I'm an actor.
Lady Gaga, you're talking about? No, yeah. I think she was doing something else. I think going to school or something.
Yeah.
And they lived together in the dorms. And her roommate killed herself, quote unquote, and had the whole Lady Gaga aesthetic, all the crazy outfits, everything, and she just took it.
Yeah.
And then went and did it. So no matter what, even if you like real facts, she stole that shit.
Yeah.
So
that is a bummer.
She's the worst.
I promise you, after this series of 3 episodes, I have a very fun episode planned for my next week.
Okay.
Lady Gaga.
That's a bummer to me, man. I didn't know that.
Just ruining celebrities. That's what it should be.
Right. Okay, so she famously, like, one reason a lot of conspiracy theorists have kind of gotten on her in the last couple of years is when those Hillary Clinton emails leaked. She had John Podesta, who was like Hillary Clinton's like campaign advisor, was doing spirit cooking with Marina Abramovich.
Gotcha.
And like I said, you know what? I believe in magic. I do all of this stuff. So, like, I don't even think necessarily... people talk about white magic and black magic and stuff. I'm like, you can use that shit for whatever it's for. But, like, you know, it's some pretty intense shit. She would do... it's a ritual that was originally developed by Aleister Crowley, which at some point I'll definitely do an episode on him because he's a very interesting figure. And it's like a thelemic ritual, which is like his... magical order that he created. That like it involves like blood, sperm, semen, and like breast milk, and then like,
and then I'm such a boring person when I hear some of this stuff. I'm just such. And I think I'm kind of a crazy guy. Like, you know what I mean? I feel like I've had some crazy nights, and I'm not, I guess, at all.
And I wouldn't even say
None
like,
of all three of those things weren't involved in your night.
and I wouldn't even say right off the bat, like those fluids are magical fluids. Like I could even understand,
Like
life
using in all its forms.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I get it, but the problem is I have a feeling like, or I know where things go like that. Like they're not, you know what I mean? Like,
You show up at a party and they're like, "Yeah, we have the blood, we have the semen, we have the breast milk. Let's go." Like, are you staying at that party, Eric?
And the official,
I mean, I probably am, but I.
Yeah, I mean, you got to in that.
I'm a curious guy.
I am out of there. I am.
I'm a curious person, though. Like it wouldn't be. I don't get sucked into
curious,
things.
But there's a line, and I would not pass that line.
Yeah, I feel like even believing in that stuff, I would. As somebody who practices magic and believes in it, I would be like, okay, I will stay and see where this goes. But if this ritual, it feels like we're going to be summoning a demon or something like that.
I feel like that's where that's going.
And it probably is, because I mean, you're talking about the official way you do the ritual is you prepare pork in such a way that it tastes as close to human flesh as possible, and you simulate cannibalism.
Cool.
Yeah, great.
Yeah, demons coming.
I could also imagine a person who was so inclined maybe participating in actual cannibalism to hide in the ritual.
Yeah.
If
you're down this path, you're not going to want the impossible meat. You want the real thing.
You're going to want the impossible meat.
The impossible meat is a pig. Exactly. Yeah, they're sacrificing people for sure and eating them.
Okay, but I will give her credit for this. This is an insane, pretty intense performance art piece that she did, which was the first major thing she ever did that got her some serious publicity.
Yeah.
And she did this thing where she stood in a gallery, I believe it was in Russia, for 6 hours. And she had a sign that said, "I am the object. During this period, I take full responsibility. Duration 6 hours." It's all it says. Then she has 72 different things laid out on the table.
Yeah.
Everything from like feathers to scissors to a gun with a bullet next to it that you can load.
Oh my God.
And she stood there for 6 hours and let the audience do whatever they wanted to her.
What did they do?
Apparently the first hour or two.
Wait a minute. So I gotta say, I mean, look, I'm not saying I want to kill somebody. We have 7 hours, all these things. If I'm an asshole, why isn't the first thing you fucking do is go take that gun and shoot yourself?
Or shoot her, you mean?
Or shoot her, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, wait a minute, you're there at the audience. Shit.
You're there at the audience.
Shit.
Yeah.
The audience get to do whatever you want to.
Oh, okay. You know
and
what?
She's basically
you know what? I misunderstood what was going on.
What happened?
She's basically standing there like one of those like guards in London or something.
Oh, okay, okay. I was a little misunderstanding what was going on.
Yeah, first hour or two, pretty light, pretty like they're just messing around, kind of having fun. But then it gets wilder and it gets darker because it's 6 hours and they start cutting her clothes off with the scissors.
Yeah,
They start giving her cuts. They start,
cuts.
Yeah, like just she gonna respond to this? Is she gonna like? You could imagine like something.
Did anybody
like
grab the gun?
Yes, yeah, somebody grabbed the gun and loaded it and was pointing it at her head. At one point, yeah,
man, the balls on her to fucking just stay there.
Yeah, she was naked, and at one point they took her and they laid her on this table, and they took a knife and stabbed right like in between her legs.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah,
I don't understand. Well, whatever.
I mean, as a performance art piece, I almost have to applaud the balls it would take.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with that. I just think that. I mean, you know, whatever happens to her is up to us, not to her. So, yeah, that's the whole thing. She's really like allowing herself to.
What you know, the funny thing though is, in reality, though, if I'm correct, by the way, on the law, if someone had taken the gun and decided, "Oh, I'm going to shoot you," they would go to jail for murder.
Yep.
The thing is, I'm not sure how the law works in Russia in the 1970s during this time period.
Oh,
yeah.
There was no,
yeah, they would have gotten away with it.
Yeah, there would have been no.
They could have shot her.
That's what I'm saying, especially if you have a sign
know?
saying
she didn't die.
No, she did not die. And she said, I thought one of the interesting things that she said that like she learned about human nature in that moment was that they were all doing this, and then the 6 hours hit, and so she's like, okay, like I'm back, and like I'm talking, I'm taking agency back in myself, and the vast majority of the audience is like immediately scattered.
That's funny.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, because they didn't want to have to address what they did?
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's
yeah.
so dark.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me. I mean,
all right.
I don't get it.
Let's have some fun now.
Yes, please.
I wanted to end with this because this is the have you guys, I know you actually watched a little bit of it with me, Tyler. Eric, have you heard it all about the Prince Andrew BBC interview?
Yeah, I think I've heard. I think you know what, my timeline in my life gets weird, but I think that it was out there. Because wasn't it like a few years ago or no?
It was like a year and a half ago.
Yeah, so we were talking about it on the Detroit cast because I don't remember all of it, but I remember. Yes, I do remember that it happened, and
Yeah, because it is one of my favorite interviews ever. Like, it is insane. It is so.
Doesn't he like say stuff about like, wasn't that where he's like, yeah, I know he was bad, but they're like, well, why did you go to his apartment still? Like, he had to fly all the way to his apartment just to like, well, I had to befriend him in person or this or that, or it's like, what?
I'm very confused about it.
Okay, sorry,
I kind of remember it a little. I just remember that. Did he have to go in the interview to? Did the power the royal family put him in the interview to screw him?
Probably.
Okay.
I mean,
that's
he did
a terrible job.
Or was it like so he
bad.
Fucked up and then they were like, we can't.
What I think, I mean, they cut him off after the interview. Okay. I would say to me, like, I
don't know if his goal going into it was to defend himself. I don't remember, but it didn't come off it came off terribly. He did like the worst.
He was in this situation where it was, he was all over Epstein's flight logs. They had pictures of him with Epstein. They had pictures of him and one of his accusers who said that he raped her, like when she's like 16 years old with his arm around her.
Right.
And so it was all of this stuff. And I think you get that famous, you're used to dealing with press, especially, the UK, the press there is even more subservient than it is in America. Like the press there is ridiculously just subservient to power.
Yeah.
And they had, so I think he thought like, okay, yeah, I'm going to do this interview. He's probably talking to people who like believe his bullshit or pretend they believe his bullshit.
Right.
We talk about how when you get famous, you get those sick sycophants, all those.
Oh yeah, no, they're just gonna. They're not.
Yeah.
100%.
And so I think he was like, dude, I'm gonna go on there. I'm gonna use my words and I'm gonna manipulate the situation and I'm just gonna get my way out of this. And it's just he is just the biggest blubbering fool. Like, it was clearly lying.
You got any like highlights?
Yes. Just like, and the thing is to understand, first of all, he is sweating bullets through all of this. Yeah. He is like looking around. He is like,
it was a train wreck for sure.
It is the mannerisms of a small child when you catch them like doing something wrong.
Yeah.
Like
hand in the cookie jar.
Hand in the cookie jar, totally. So, one of the things that you were kind of just breaking this up, but he does. The interview goes, why did you see him at his New York mansion after he was convicted as a sex offender? And he says, it was only to tell him that I couldn't see him anymore.
And he had to fly there?
Yes.
To tell him that?
And then the interviewer says, you say that you were there to break off your relationship, and yet you stayed for several days. And he goes, I mean, I was doing a number of things while I was there. It was a convenient place to stay.
Was it?
That's the thing. A convenient place to stay.
Right.
In a freaking pedophile's apartment.
And it's like,
that you went there to quote unquote break up your friendship.
And all this stuff, like you knew he was who he was.
He'd been convicted for being who he was.
Yep.
And his whole story is I stayed there for 4 days to tell him that I couldn't see him anymore.
Like, this is it from now, for real.
Yeah, from now on. But like, can I stay for 4 days?
Right.
Like, I know I ended this, but I got some business in town.
Okay, and people will
Right.
talk about this quote I'm going to bring up in a minute. The most famous thing, which I'm sure you will have heard about before. But this is my personal favorite quote from the interview that I think gets overlooked. The interviewer says, "There are photos of several underage women entering and leaving the mansion during the time you were there." And Andrew goes, "Look, in hindsight, it wasn't a good idea. I should have broken it off with him over the phone. But, you know, at the time, I thought it was the right and honorable thing to do it in person. I guess my problem is my tendency to try to be too honorable."
I know, dude. What an asshole.
Avoiding it and trying to make himself look good, but also like, what the fuck are you talking about?
And just the gall of him to be like, I'm trying to be too honorable.
Yeah.
Like that
That
was
is
my
like
problem.
the thought that if I found out that, for example, that, and we keep getting the raping thing, I almost don't want to use that, but if I thought that, like, found out that in the end, Tyler had just been going around murdering people, like, you know, in different towns. It turned out Tyler was a serial killer. I'm not
Yeah.
flying out to Colorado still and being like, "Hey, Tyler, man,
We
I've been
can't be
friends for a long
friends
time."
Yeah.
But also, I wouldn't mind doing some hiking in the area, so can I still chill at your
Yeah.
house? Like,
Can I stick around?
Yeah. It's like a little 4-day excursion. And
And during that time, I also had murder victims coming over to my apartment.
Right.
And there was a record of that.
yeah, because seriously, yeah, they did. They had several underage women coming in during that time period.
right.
Like in pictures of them.
That's fucking crazy.
What's
the main quote?
Okay, so this is well, right before we get to that, the best one or the most famous one comes in a second. But also, like, I thought it was insane too. This is years ago at this point. This is like 2011. And he goes, "I couldn't have gone to a club with Epstein and Jeffries that day. Jeffries is his accuser." And he says, because he was like, "I was at home with the kids that day and we went and got pizza."
Yeah.
And she was like, "How do you remember? How do you remember that?"
I remember
specific
this.
day?"
I don't remember where you're going with this, but it is triggering to me yet, or triggered. I remember what was the deal?
Yeah,
There was something-
the deal was that he goes, like, because it's actually a very rare thing for me to get pizza from this piece of place.
Yeah.
So it was very distinctive. Like,
That's what he tried to say.
Yeah.
Wasn't it completely proved wrong too, though? In the end, like,
Oh,
or
I'm
something
sure.
like didn't they? I thought they had pictures, but it was like, I don't remember what the deal. I wish I could remember.
No,
I don't
they
want to say
absolutely
anything.
do have. No, you're right. And actually, they had pictures of him that they show in the interview because it was already known that there were pictures.
Yeah.
It's the whole reason he was doing things in the first place. It's him and Epstein walking around Central Park.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Insane human being to try to even get out.
Yeah.
I mean, at that point, just get up and get out of the interview, right?
Or honestly, like, your best move in that case is to be like, "Hey, look, like, I shouldn't have been hanging out with him. I shouldn't have been around him. I knew better, and like, I'm sorry." That's
Yeah,
really
I
your
mean,
only move at that point.
It is. It's not
Get out of
necessarily.
there. Just we're done. We're done. I'm done with this interview.
Then they're getting a great. I mean, they're just gonna air that a million times. That's
What?
the only thing. They're gonna air you now storming out of the interview.
I'd rather have that than his fucking interview.
That's true.
I'm saying,
That's
it's like,
true.
oh, he was very vague about it, or he confessed and then started like fumbling around and confessed a little more,
Yeah,
and did some more confessing.
you're not wrong. I mean,
Yeah.
it was.
It was a lose-lose, to be honest with you. He shouldn't have even.
Yeah.
I mean,
And I guarantee you, they had the royal family.
There's a trickle of win if you leave. That's all I'm saying.
I guarantee you, though, the royal family at that point had to
Still
been
would have
like-
disowned him. if
Yeah,
he
I think
left.
I think they were absolutely on the cusp of disowning him, and this was his like Hail Mary to try to get back in their good graces.
yeah.
This was like, maybe I do this interview, maybe it goes well,
Yep.
and like whatever. Okay, so his most famous quote from that interview, which is legitimately insane. They're talking about his accuser, Jeffries, and they go, "She says she remembers you dancing. She remembered you profusely sweating." And he's like, He's like, "Well, see, there's there's a problem with that."
Oh, yeah.
I
Here we go.
actually
Here we go. Yep.
I had at the time a medical condition where I actually didn't sweat. I
Yes.
experienced an overdose of adrenaline in the Falklands War and actually suffered with an inability to sweat for many years after. And only now, after doing many things to correct it, I am gaining the ability to sweat again.
I forgot about this, man. I forgot about this. And didn't they have pictures of him in the club sweating too, though? Like they had pictures
I mean,
of him
he's
in the.
sweating on the camera,
Yeah.
like right then. I mean, he is saying
Well,
that there was a
yeah.
period where he couldn't sweat, but shut up, dude.
And
That's
also,
insane.
The human body cannot. It needs to sweat.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, it does.
Like doctors are.
It has nothing to do with your fucking adrenal. Like, what is he talking about?
No, it is a completely made up thing. It has no basis in reality.
Right.
Yeah.
And like I said,
You
I think
can
they had
sweat.
pictures.
You don't need adrenaline to sweat. You can sit there and sweat. I'm sweaty right now. My
Yeah.
hands are sweaty. We're not
Right.
doing a goddamn thing.
No,
Yeah.
totally.
No, I think they had. I think that they did have pictures of him and clubs in that time though.
Where he didn't sweat, and that was his angle.
Yeah.
That was his. I couldn't have been there. I wasn't sweating.
You gotta say something.
Yeah, and there are definitely pictures of him sweating in clubs. You are absolutely right about that too. It's insane, and it's just not a thing. You can Google this condition he's saying he had, and just nothing pops up except for his claim of having this condition.
Right. Oh, but you know what? By the way, speaking of nothing popping up, that reminds me of that Alex kid who quote unquote created those languages. I did more Googling on that shit, and I didn't find nothing about these languages. So
yeah, because it's so secretive. He's so high up.
Oh, okay.
You can't even find out what he's doing.
Gotcha.
He's creating the new languages for when we colonize Mars.
Okay. Gotcha.
This goddamn this.
Hey, if you can't find anything about him, everything I say is true. Because you can't disprove it. Yep.
What on angle?
Yep. Alex also hung like a horse.
Yeah.
Everybody knows now.
I'm not Googling Asians' dick pictures. I'm just gonna say that right away.
You have to go on a different kind of webpage.
Just on someone else's computer.
Yeah. You need a whole new IP address to go on the dark web.
Which, by the way, we spent maybe 20 minutes of Eric and I arguing with Tyler once the podcast.
yeah, you guys.
Oh, I know. There was more.
And arguing about something where it's like I saw the only thing that Eric also saw, which was that he is a linguist and has done those things, and I couldn't find anything else. So they were coming at me like I had all this knowledge of Alex, like he was my lifelong best friend as a child.
Wow.
I have no idea what happened to Alex.
Well, you can't just read the internet and believe everything you read on the internet. I mean, it never said by the way.
It was the only thing I could find about him in the future, and you guys asked about it.
And what was the thing you did find, Eric? Wasn't it like it was like a spelling bee, but for nerds who
a linguistic bee, if you will, or something.
Christ.
Yeah.
Somebody give this kid a fucking wedgie.
Says the free-spirited hippie of one of the two hippies of fucking two hippies, one drunk. It hates Alex and wants him to get a wedgie.
There is as much evidence he is a linguistic genius as there is that Epstein was a math genius.
Yeah, there you go.
That is accurate.
What a great tie.
Arguing either way. I'm just giving you the information available.
Just learn a real language. Take that time.
I mean, he knows 2 languages. Actually, I think he knows 4 languages. I'm pretty sure they said that too.
What are the English?
By the way, the thing is
Klingon and what else?
No.
Well, and the other thing is that we kept saying afterwards is it said he said, for one, it just said he was claimed to have created 10 languages, and then it said 30 or 40 alphabets. 30 or 40 different alphabets?
Yes! I fully believe that wonderful little child is going and just creating
Why isn't it a more accurate
civilization's language?
I could create 30 or 40 alphabets tonight.
Do it and have
I will do it on a site. Literally, all you gotta do is like, oh, you thought this was an A? Actually, this is an A.
Okay, do it 30 or 40 times.
That's it.
Do it 30, 40 times. with different fucking symbols. You do it.
If he only created 10 languages, why would he need 30 or 40 different alphabets, by the way, then? For what purpose?
To be the best there ever was.
You literally give me 1 Adderall and I will do this.
I will give you 10 Adderall and you'll still be in a corner crying because you never made one of them. Because you don't understand it.
Hey,
call Alex.
It's a square now.
I'll call Alex and I'll have him come to our apartment and judge, and he'll be like, no. That's all I got.
A is a square, B is a triangle, C is a Gatorade bottle. I'm already 3 letters in.
There you go. Actually, he went down a path I didn't even consider, which is genius, though. You're right. Because then once you do that,
Gatorade bottles.
yeah, just use
Okay.
it.
Yeah, this is a
Anyway.
whole.
So look forward to more Alex talk on my episode in 2 weeks.
Oh, yeah, this is going to be a recurring issue.
yeah.
I feel
Alex
like
is. One day we'll have him on our podcast. We will get him on here.
Yeah, and
And you
grill
will
him
get-
about these
He'll
languages.
be like Prince Andrew, just sweating bullets and talking
Whoa,
bullshit.
Whoa, you know.
Yeah.
I guess he's kind of right. You could have used a Gatorade bottle. That's totally.
The funny thing is, I will say, as a cheap plug for our show's like YouTube channel, for example, I started making these little, clips of the show, and I was trying to think about how to word it because there's no good way to title. You want a good capturing title, but you don't want us to look like the good guys. So it was just titled "True Grown Idiots Mock a Highly Intelligent Kid's Accomplishments."
That is accurate. That is accurate. Should say one of those did not do any of that. Defended child. That's what it really should be.
That's a long title for YouTube.
Yeah.
I don't know how the algorithm would fit into that, but
yeah, that's a lot. It's a wordy title.
Okay, so last thing to wrap it up. I know we could do an hour on how Alex is full of
right,
shit.
of course.
And maybe we will. Maybe we will. But
you gotta do a fourth part of the Kid Nation just on Alex's bullshit.
Start tweeting at him. I'm going to start tweeting at him every day. I want to know these languages.
Yeah.
Yes,
What are you
that's
up to, buddy?
we need to start aggressively tweeting it. I'm 100% on board with this.
Prove it. Prove it.
Yeah, I want these languages. Send me the
Hey, look,
PDFs.
Alex, I created a language. It's 26 different dicks.
Right. There you go. That's a whole language.
You're the worst. That's not a language. That's just the alphabet for one.
Wow, that's another alphabet.
That's an alphabet. Okay, that's what I'm saying. 30 or 40 alphabets.
Anyway.
You didn't make 30. You made one full of dicks.
Yeah.
And that's your contribution to the linguistic society. Okay. Let's,
All right, yeah, this is okay. So, we're pretty much done.
Yeah, final thoughts?
Okay, last one, because this is a pretty good quote from him, too. When they're like, she's like, Virginia Jeffries is saying, like, you had sex with her and stuff when she was underage. His comeback is he was like, well, yeah, but you got to think about, for her, it was a passive act. Because when you're a woman, having sex is a passive act. And without putting too fine a point on it, when you have sex as a man, it is a positive act. You have to take some sort of positive action. And it's very hard to forget a positive action. And I'm telling you categorically, I don't remember it.
That's his logic behind I didn't bang her.
Yeah.
Wow. That's
His
and you gotta
logic
say
behind-
something.
Yeah.
You always
You
got
don't. You can sit there silently,
Yeah.
not say a word. Get up and leave. Fucking Johnny Depp did it.
Right. It's a
You can do it.
difficult situation
Get out
he
of
put
that
himself
interview.
in.
But God bless him for doing it, because it's a great
Yeah,
interview.
for sure.
Yeah. It definitely. I mean, it helps this episode end on a more positive note than child rape.
Yeah,
So
definitely.
I would
Now
say
it's
that-
gonna
I mean,
be
way to bring it back around. But yeah, very much so.
I would say, like, by the way, if you were going to get into a final thought situation, once again, just hearing some of this shit, it's like, it makes me feel like Mother Teresa, compared to fucking some of these people. Like, I'm going to be less, I think that it will affect my shame spirals in the sense that I'll be like, yeah, dude, you're not doing this shit, at least. So,
And speaking of Mother Teresa, I really hate, like, there's been this, like, you know what? Actually, Mother Teresa was a piece of shit thing.
oh,
like,
really?
Are
Are they trying to cancel Mother
the
Teresa?
last
Anyone
like 10
trying
years. Penn and Teller did like a bullshit episode on it or whatever.
Oh, really?
A long time ago. One of those shows didn't really have any strong evidence. They like just really kind of don't like religious people.
I don't like when that. I hate. Look, I'm not super religious by any means, but I don't like it when, if that's what that was, I wouldn't have sat well with that. I don't like it if I feel like they're just doing it because they don't like Christianity, and so they're using that as an I don't know much about Mother Teresa. She must be a weird historical figure if you think about it. Like there's so few people that make it to that level of pop culture, like in the world, Where it's funny because everyone knows what that means when you say like, "Oh, I'm Mother Teresa over here."
Yeah.
But that same man, I mean, we don't know that Mother Teresa didn't suck some dick and stuff like that at one point in her life. Like, so is there a guy out there that's like, yeah, she became really great, but at one point I stuck a finger up her butt. Like, what I mean?
And if nothing else, she actually created a whole porn fetish.
Oh, for sure.
On accident.
Yeah,
like
absolutely.
maybe accidentally, but yeah.
She did.
They brought nuns into the pop culture, which then brought them into the porn sphere.
Do you know anything? You know what's funny? Now that I even say this, like I don't even know anything about her other than again, like the joke that like, oh, she was a perfect essentially or something.
Woman, yeah.
Yeah, she was a Catholic saint. She was fine. She was a nun. She had a bunch of charitable organizations that pedants will be like, they actually didn't do as much good as they said. Like,
right?
But whatever.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, no, I get feeling like Mother Teresa
compared to some of these people.
Yeah,
with or without a finger in her butt, coming from the Two Hippies One Drunk podcast. We are very positive. We're pro Mother Teresa.
Yeah,
and pro finger up your butt.
Yeah.
So both.
I don't know about that.
You can walk and chew gum at the same time.
I am not pro finger up my butt.
I would say my final thought, if I have one, is get the fuck out of an interview if it's going the wrong way.
Yeah,
I wonder seriously what was in his head.
A turn, I would leave.
Yeah, as it was happening, for real. Like you think about that, as it was happening, I wonder what was going on in his head. Like honestly,
I'm sure he was just panicking. He was panicking and kept answering questions because that's the only way you answer questions in that case. Is you're like, I'm freaking out. I have to say the right thing. I can use my brain to get out of this, and it's like, no, you can't. Just get out. Like the smart move is shut the fuck up and leave.
And the fact is, you're not even a good liar, dude. You're just around a bunch of people who won't call you on your shit.
Yep. And now you have some people who will call you on your shit.
And I think my final thought would be that you know what? If you tried a finger up the butt, Eric, I think you would be pleasantly surprised.
I think you would.
I've had a long-standing joke in my life for years that like led to like, if, to search for colon cancer, they have to do the prostate exam or whatever. And I've said like, dude, if it came to me and said, you could die tomorrow, or I could sting this finger up your butt and you'd be fucking cured, I'd be like, I've had a good life. It's been fun.
You feel that extremely about.
Although you know what's funny about that? I've
watched you drink your own pee.
Yeah, that's the other thing. Well, it's just it's not a disgusting thing. It's just like
death.
I don't like pain things that or whatever.
But doesn't have to be painful.
No,
you ain't using your fist.
It's just
a finger.
Yeah, not a fist up your butt.
Yeah.
Well, here's the other thing, though.
You can
oil it up. It's not going to be like a jagged, like somebody hasn't like clipped their nails.
I don't know. I just have this imagine of what that tastes like. But having said that, dude, as I've gone over,
you don't have to lick the finger afterwards either.
I meant feels like that was a Freudian slip, I suppose.
You want to taste it?
That was not what I meant. That's not what I meant. But
the problem is, he's like, if I start, I'm gonna go all the way. I've drank my own piss. I'm gonna taste the
my fingers up.
I cannot believe I said that. Honestly, God, that wasn't.
Taste it.
That was a mistake. But real quick, what I was gonna say is like, anyone that knows me, I'm not a big person who likes to talk about shit and stuff. Like, I'm not one of these guys who's like, oh, look I had a. Take a picture of crazy poops or something or whatever.
No, thank you.
But as I've gone older, you're right. I have this fear of getting like a prostate examination. It's like, dude, I look sometimes once in a while now at like, bowel movements I have and go like, dude, that came out of there, man. So like,
right.
That definitely could fit my fucking finger.
Right.
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
When you do eventually get a prostate exam, because you'll be the first one being closest to 40.
Yeah.
Ask the doctor how many fingers you think he could. So inclined.
Yeah.
Well, you know what I finally found out recently, though. To get screened for colon cancer, though, I found out recently that you can put yourself under to get screened for colon cancer.
Oh my god! You know what? We've talked about calling a man
it's
a bitch.
It's a rich man game.
And we've also been talking about calling a man a bitch. If you need to be gassed and knocked out, to get a finger up your butt,
Yeah.
that is big time
Bitch.
behavior.
Well,
Bitch behavior. Beta
I'm a
bitch.
bitch then. That's what's gonna happen for me. So
I'm saying that's a rich man's game. Getting gas.
oh, it costs a lot of money to do it that way.
I'd be like, hey, what if I do it? Do I get a discount?
Right.
No, you do get a discount on it for
Really?
sure.
If you do it,
I do it.
No, if you don't do like that thing, because it saves money on
I know
the.
that. That's what I'm saying. I'm saying if I stick my own finger up my own ass, do I get?
Well, you gotta
Oh,
know,
yeah,
you know what
that
you're
makes more
looking
sense.
for. No, you don't know what you're looking for.
That's what I was imagining. For a second, the proctologist just being like, all right, you can either do it yourself, or we do have the next tier up where I put the finger in.
yeah, your choice. And next tier up from that is passing out. Next tier up is like we let somebody fuck you while we're sticking our finger in there, right?
That's not a good next tier. That should be the bottom tier, if anything.
How
is
would that be the bottom tier? You get sex at the top tier, right? I'm saying
He's suggesting that girls having like sex with you or
girls
something.
having
Or?
sex with you while you're getting your
So it's like you're not even paying attention.
Okay, yeah, that's upsetting.
I don't know because the angles of how that would work,
and
dude.
It might loosen you up too. It might help
You know what though? Here's the
with
thing though.
Exam.
The angles of how that would go would mean most likely you would have to be like in
You'd
a
be on
doggy
top.
style
Yeah,
position.
You'd be on top.
I know,
No,
but
you'd be
like
on top
so
of
the
them.
What does
the
that do
doctor-
every time you're pulling out in the thrust? The doctor's just gonna jam a finger in.
Yeah. I don't think it would work like that. I don't think that's how they work.
Nor should it. Nor should it.
No. I'm just saying that's that tier that nobody knows about. Past the sleeping tier.
You'd be like, hey, let me get the special. The
Yeah,
proctologist is like, I
exactly.
have no idea what you're talking
No, the happy ending one.
Yeah.
Where you finish me off.
Oh wow.
about.
Or I guess it's just a reach where it's like I'll jerk you off while I put my finger. Up
This
your
man
This is going a
has
whole nother.
PhD.
This is not even. We're not
This
talking
man
about
has what?
prostate
A
exams anymore.
PhD.
Yeah, but he's trying to get that extra money. This man needs to get that boat that he's.
He
in.
is
I think he's doing all
extremely
right.
rich.
That's-
Jerking you off is not going to in any way, sense or form, make sense for a proctologist.
No.
You don't know.
This man is a professional. He went to medical school for like 10 years. I'm offended for him.
He's putting his finger up your butt while you're passed out. He is not the highest rank of
No,
society.
he's putting his finger up your butt while you're awake if you're not a coward.
Either way.
I've
All
often.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What a way to
probably
end
should
it, I
end it on
suppose.
Yeah.
A nice good long talk about what
Prostates and
prostate
Alex.
exams. Yeah.
Yeah. Episode about billionaire child sex rings, bookended with
Prostate
clown
exams.
porn and prostate exams.
That seems fitting,
Clown
I
porn,
suppose,
man.
if you think about
We
it.
started it with clown porn.
We did start it with clown
That
porn.
seems fitting.
But yeah, so
Do you want me to get into what the next week?
Eric, what are you doing next week?
So I have a kind of a weird concept, and I've already done an episode on music. We did about like music snobbery. So anyone that knows me knows music is a massive a part of my life. When people sometimes say like the idea of like I couldn't live without music, I mean I could, but I couldn't. Music gets me through everything in my entire life, and so. I have this idea because I always think that a lot of times as we get older, it's harder for people to get like out of their zone for music. It's hard. You just tend to end up going back to the same stuff you listened to as kids. So we're going to do a thing where I'm going to give each of you guys, I'm going to try to, find songs that I think you would not have heard of, but would like. And I'm going to give you guys each some songs, and you guys are going to send me some songs, and we're going to kind of just go through those next week and see what we all think of them. Okay. And maybe we'll hate them or maybe we'll like them. We'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sounds good.
To me.
Sounds fun. All right. So this has been the Two Hippies What Drug podcast. Review us on iTunes, especially if you want that those drawings, those sweet drawings. Yep. Not of proctology exams, not of clown porn, of very beautiful things like flowers.
I mean, I can draw that if you want to do a commission. Whatever you want.
Yeah, the choice is yours.
Yeah.
Or a tarot reading, and please like us on iTunes, Spotify. Thank you for being here yet again.
Yeah. Woo.
Sweet.
Have a good week.
See you next week.